Grinding in GTA Online can be very time consuming, but using the right vehicles will make all of the difference. In this video, I'm breaking down the 5 vehicles every grinder needs, the ones that save you time, make missions easier, and in turn make you a ton of cash. Let's get into it. First up, I want to start off things with a very strong vehicle, at least in terms of the grinding aspect of things. This will be the Raju Jet. There is one main reason above all else as to why you probably want to get this at some point, and it is because of its ridiculous top speed. This is currently the fastest vehicle in the entire game. You can go directly from the city all the way across the map to Palito Bay in roughly about 1.5 minutes. Now, with that being technically the best feature, this also has some additional things just really making it even better. For example, it does have a built-in stealth feature, hiding you from the minimap once activated. You will not be able to use your weapons in the Raju whilst you are in the stealth feature, but this really does not matter because you can just switch it off straight away and go straight back into it. In terms of weapons, the Raju is definitely not as blessed as some other jets, for example the laser. The Raju's cannons are really not that good. They can still be effective, especially against vehicles, but if you do remember the laser's cannons, you know how good them things were. The missiles on the Raju as well are also kind of a letdown. You will not be able to constantly spam these things, and they will have a really short delay in between shots, pretty similar to the Buzzard, but if you guys just time this right, it will probably not be a problem at all. And the last feature that the Raju has that really does make it stand out just that little bit more is this hovering ability. I believe it's called VTOL. So not only is it the fastest vehicle in the entire game, it can almost instantly stop when you get over to your target, whether that be a business or even just a setup mission that you need to complete. So right now in GTA Online, I do think this might be one of the best grinding vehicles, just in terms of strictly saving time, getting things done extremely quickly. And just imagine if you had a friend with a Raju as well, you would be able to complete things extremely fast. The only downside that I really see with the Raju is that you need to have the hangar. Without the hangar, you will not be able to customize this thing, and I believe you can't even buy it without one. Everyone should have a hangar business at some point. You'll then be able to call the Raju directly from your interaction menu. Moving on to the second vehicle that we have in this video, I decided to go for the Oppressor Mark 1. I think nowadays in GTA Online, the Oppressor Mark 1 is definitely overshadowed by the Mark 2, which is a real shame because the Mark 1 is extremely fun. Not only is it just fun, it is very fast with its boost feature. With the Oppressor Mark 1, you will be able to do a lot of things, like for example traveling across the entire map. Although it's not as fast as the Raju Jet in terms of just having fun, but also saving time, the Oppressor Mark 1 is still a really valid choice. In terms of prices though, the Oppressor Mark 1 still really holds up. Not too long ago, Rockstar made a bunch of different changes to some of these really overused vehicles, and we can actually see on the Warstock website, the standard Oppressor will be able to be bought for just under $3 million. Or if you do complete the trade price, you can get it for just over $2 million, saving you a ton of money. There is only one problem with the Oppressor Mark 1, and it will be the fact that you need to have a vehicle workshop specifically for weaponized vehicles. So either the facility, the MOC with the vehicle workshop inside, or the Avenger should all do the trick to be able to put on things like missiles and actually get the most from your Oppressor Mark 1. Slightly shifting our focus to a more gimmicky sort of vehicle, but it's still a vehicle that is very serviceable and extremely useful in specific situations. This will be the Thruster. To even buy the Thruster, you will first of all have to have the facility, so already it could be considered a downside. Another downside of the Thruster is its missiles. If you decide to put them on, they are some of the worst missiles in the entire game. Once you lock onto something, you are not really going to hit this unless the target is not moving. So at this point with the Thruster, you might be thinking, why the hell have I included this? And it really comes down to its overall top speed, how easy the thing is to use, and how you can pretty much just park this absolutely anywhere. You might be surprised by this because I know that I was, but the top speed of the Thruster is only slightly worse than the Oppressor Mark II at roughly around 127 miles per hour. Compared to pretty much any vehicle across the entire game, I do think the Thruster might be one of the most agile in the air, and the main reason for this is because you can hold the left bumper and right bumper to get this really precise movement. This comes in very useful if you are going at full speed and you want to stop in a heartbeat. That is what I would recommend. To get onto the price of the Thruster, it will have a trade price of $1.8, nearly $1.9 million, or a buy it now price of $2.5 million. What I say it is worth it? I mean, if you guys have any of the other vehicles in this list, probably not. The only way that I would suggest getting this one is if you get really bored of some of the other things. The jetpack or thruster is still extremely fun to mess around with. I love switching between this and the Raju. In terms of raw firepower and how exposed you are when flying this thing, it might not be the best suited option. Moving on to the most obvious choice, which I don't want to spend too much time on because it is kind of obvious. This one will be the Oppressor Mark II. I think everyone knew that by the title of this video. The Oppressor Mark II just had to be included somewhere. It is essentially the most brain-dead but essential grinding vehicle. It's not obviously the fastest, but it's just the fact you can keep going at this constant speed. It can be called directly from your interaction menu through the Terabyte or MC Club. So in terms of versatility, the Oppressor Mark II just has pretty much everything you need. The missiles on this as well are not bad. They used to be so much better, but Rockstar did eventually nerf them. And one thing I completely forgot about the Oppressor Mark II is that it can have the explosive cannon sort of rounds. So I have been messing around with this a lot more, and they do feel really good, but just very hard to control them. Because the Oppressor Mark II is really well known, I also want to mention the Terabyte in the same section, and there is a really good reason for this, especially nowadays in GTA Online, because the Terabyte did get a mini sort of update when the Garment Factory was released. You can now drive your Terabyte inside your Garment Factory if you have one, and put some really phenomenal upgrades in the Terabyte. The biggest one, in my opinion, being the MCT. With this MCT installed, you can now use the Terabyte as a mobile business, almost having access to everything you have. I think the only thing you cannot access is the Acid Lab, but that is a mobile business in itself, so that is absolutely fine. This is definitely a must-have vehicle. Even if you don't have the Oppressor Mark II, the Terabyte with the MCT upgrade will be essential for pretty much every grinder. Just park it somewhere maybe close to a business. You can then resupply anything you want, and it will make your whole process a lot more efficient. At long last, we are now onto the fifth spot, or at least the fifth vehicle I want to mention, because I don't want to put these in a different ranking. This is by no means the worst vehicle to use or anything. This will be the Sparrow from your Kasatka. Right now in GTA Online, this is the fastest helicopter, and typically if the Sparrow was not in the game, I would have probably put the Buzzard here. Another really nice honorable mention, I would say, but the Sparrow just outclasses it in pretty much everything. The Sparrow has the spammable missiles, making this completely deadly. Obviously, it has that extreme top speed, making setup missions, especially for the KO Breaker heist, very quick. It is also stored inside the Kasatka, so you will need to have a Kasatka to get this, and it is upgraded directly from there as well. This is definitely up there for me with one of my favorite vehicles across the entire game. Similar to the Buzzard, you can call this from your interaction menu through the service vehicles, and there is one sort of misconception because there is also a separate Sparrow called the Sea Sparrow, and this one is nowhere near as fast. It also is not the one stored inside the Kasatka, which is really strange because you think it would be the same. The Sea Sparrow would probably make more sense for the Kasatka with its ability to land on water, but yeah, to clear up any confusion there, if you are looking to get a Sparrow, you want the one that is directly inside the Kasatka for the Moonpool vehicle. So at this point, we would be typically done with this video. However, I do want to include some honorable mentions, which could easily be perfect grinding vehicles depending what you are doing. The first one, of course, will be the new Iron Mule, essentially just an upgraded cargo bob, a lot faster, and just beats the cargo bob at everything. Next, we have the Savage Helicopter, one of the strongest helicopters across the entire game in terms of firepower, because it will have the Lasers Jet Cannon. However, the Savage is extremely weak, so if you do manage to get one, just be very careful around enemy fire or even crashing into buildings, because it will not last. And for my third and final honorable mention, this one is a bit more generalized. I would genuinely say any fast car or any car with a good lap time that can go around these really tight corners fast would be an ideal choice here. But alongside this, I would also suggest any Amani Tech vehicle, specifically the ones that can have the armor plating. Some really solid choices will be, for example, the Omnis EGT and the Stinger TT. Still really respectable in their top speeds, but can really take advantage of Amani Tech. These type of cars, even just fast ones, are pretty much your go-to options when all of the other ones are off the table. If you have a cooldown on your Oppressor Mark II or something, or the Sparrow, using a really quick car is sometimes the only choice you have. But yeah guys, that will wrap it up for this video of the 5 vehicles every grinder needs in GTA Online. I am definitely more intrigued to hear what you guys think. What have you been using? I think a lot of people just use the Oppressor Mark II and call it a day, or maybe you have just purchased the Raju Jet to make things a lot faster. With these type of videos, there's always ones that I miss. There is so many different vehicles in GTA Online. But yeah, if you did go on to enjoy this video or it helped you out in any way, shape or form, leave a like on this video. I do appreciate your support. And if you are new to the channel and like what you see, subscribe and hit that bell icon to never miss a video. Finally guys, stay safe, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.